Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just to refresh your memory, I'm Steve Willoughby from Barbados, and I'll be chairing this morning's session. I hope you had an enjoyable evening and you're here this morning, all great day, on which you feel ready to go. Our first presentation this morning is going to be on strengthening the national and regional SPS monitoring program. And to present the proposals this morning, I call on Elder to take us through that.
Yes, good morning again, everybody. Hope you had a good night. So I'm going to carry on from where I left yesterday, where I just presented the overview of our findings from the SPS monitoring programs that are ongoing at the moment. And just to refresh our memories, I presented yesterday the overview of the results of the work based on the visit to these 7 counter-review countries, and I told you that we had some the results, the main observations regarding the official control of fishery products in the 7 Caribbean countries visited, and thus we have can say from this slide that overall there are some improvements that can be made, and that is then the basis for for the proposals that we have presented and that we will go through. And also, as you can see from this slide, that there are considerable improvements that can be made regarding the laboratory capacities, and that is also reflected in the proposal. Also, we have observed that the plan for monitoring of contaminants, for example, in the fisheries products for the wild fisheries, is generally not in place, and if it is in place, it's products. So this is reflected in the proposal. And as we went through yesterday, we observed quite a number of problems related to vessels, landing sites, retail and processing facilities. And this is then the basis for some of the suggestions that we have made. Also, we observed that, or were informed actually, more because that was information we received from the stakeholders, that persons working in the primary fisheries were not sufficiently trained, and also regarding consumer knowledge, it seemed to be insufficient, or the perception was not according to proper handling of fisheries products, at least. So this is the basis for our proposal, and I can say that the proposal that we prepared we managed to put it together, and it has been, we were actually a bit late in preparing it, but we managed to send it on last Friday, and it was uploaded on the TheCRFM website, where you have all the documents in the document archive for this workshop. So I hope that you have had time to read it over and reflect on it. But in summary, the proposal basically consists of 1 suggestions on the strengthening the national SPS monitoring programs, and also some ideas on the way forward, and 8 suggestions on strengthening the regional SPS monitoring programs, and some ideas on the way forward for each of them. And just so we all are on the same page, in case you haven't had time to read it or just need some time to reflect on it, I'm going to go through them quickly because it's the basis of the discussion that you will have in the working groups. after this talk of mine here. And the first, like I mentioned, is the proposal on strengthening the national SPS monitoring program. Basically, we are not suggesting anything new there. I mean, you already have a system in place, generally speaking, regarding that you have official control services, but there is clearly necessary to strengthen the national official control and the enforcement at the sources of the deficiencies, and also what we observed that to make sure that the competent authority is enforcing one harmonized standard for all fishery products, because currently it's quite often two standards that are applied, and I think that I can say generally for those countries that we visited, at least that was true. For the domestic market and another for the export market, and I think I don't need to stay long on this slide, because it's basically the basis for the strengthening. It has to be the appropriate legislation, and the regulations regarding the official controls have to be, of course, in place, and also the food business operators have to fulfill their responsibilities in order to ensure the safety of the products. And the official control is basically only there to monitor and make sure that the food business operators are complying. So it's more a supervisional role and official monitoring, as well as, of course, management in case of crisis related to food safety. So our suggestions are presented on this slide. We suggest that you prepare a roadmap with a plan and regarding how to deal with these main weaknesses that we have pointed out, and also that you need input from the relevant stakeholders to prepare this plan. And this plan, actually, what's very important, has to have clearly defined priorities and deadlines regarding when the suggested activities should be finalized. Because you cannot do everything in a way, it's necessary to prioritize how you want to achieve, what do you want to achieve within a certain time frame, and then when certain activities should be finalized. And this plan, of course, has to be based on a previous national assessment on the SPS measures in the entire production chain for the fishery products, to identify where the main weaknesses presently are, and maybe this assessment already exists for the countries. I mean, we carried out some assessment in the countries that we visited, but of course it was a very short visit, so we were not able to maybe reflect on all the issues, and a more thorough assessment may be needed, and also possibly this is different between the different Caribbean countries. If necessary, then it could be a way to do this is to obtain consultation from suitable experts to help with this national assessment. So this is our suggested way forward for this national SPS monitoring programs. So that was that. So but then we had a couple of more suggestions regarding strengthening the regional SPS monitoring programs. First of all, regarding the official control, this is the first suggestion in the proposal, is to harmonize. Our suggestion is to harmonize the official inspection service carried out by the official food control authorities in the CARIFORM states, and the aim should be to comply to the EU requirements. And I have underlined there, as you can see, that it should be food control, because the harmonization of official inspection should be based on not only for one sector, that is to say not only that you have a certain standardized system for fishery products, but that it needs to be standardized for all food. And I think that was already mentioned yesterday a couple of times, because you cannot have different systems in place, and it's both very expensive and different to uphold. So this is just something that already a couple of countries here within the Caribbean have achieved, and we can learn from them, I'm sure. This harmonization, it's proposed by us that it should include synchronization of the written inspection procedures, which are already in place in some countries. That is to say the inspection manual and the checklist which interprets the SPS regularity requirements. And we thought that maybe if Caribbean countries that already have developed and implemented these type of written procedures could share these documents with each other, and they could then serve as a basis for the regional harmonization of the inspection procedures. And after you have agreed on harmonized inspection procedures, then these would be the same procedures would apply to all the CARIFORM states. And also, as part of the official control, suggestion is to harmonize the official monitoring and surveillance of the fisheries products, as well as of the water and ice used in the production. And the only way to do this is basically to monitor that the monitoring and surveillance should be risk-based, and risk should be the way how you carry this out, the evaluation of risk. And the Caribbean countries, a couple of them have already developed and implemented effective official monitoring and surveillance plans that cover the entire production chain for fisheries products, and they could possibly share these procedures, and then they could be adopted a little bit for each country, but I'm sure that there are a lot of commonalities. And to help with this risk-based inspection, it may be necessary to obtain consultation from suitable experts regarding the main features of this kind of risk-based inspection and risk-based sampling. And further on, suggestions regarding the official control, the harmonized official control is to organize some regional training of the staff performing official controls. And then in the end, when you have harmonized the system for the official inspection service, then basically you can carry out regional audits to evaluate the compliance according to the regionally harmonized inspection service carried out by and this audit should be carried out by independent individuals with the capacity to do such audit. And this is basically the system which is applied in Europe, that you have this one harmonized inspection service approach. So this is what we are suggesting that you also consider for the Caribbean region. And then suggestions regarding further suggestion regarding strengthening the regional SPS monitoring programs is the laboratories. We suggest that you carry out an assessment to evaluate the possibilities for integrated regional laboratories for the analysis of official control samples. And we have suggested a couple of ways forward to do that. In our opinion, you need to prepare an assessment regarding the regional laboratories, and this should include evaluation, including cost benefit. There's a lot of text there, and this is all in the documents on the website. So I'm just gonna assume that you have read it, but it basically covers what that kind of assessment should include, and the region occurrence and level of biological and chemical hazards invoice wild fisheries products and of course consumption data, so that you can do this in a risk-based way. And the monitoring should basically cover all economically important marine species caught and harvested and traded here in the Caribbean region. Also, we mentioned specifically the monitoring and collection of the data on the marine biotoxins like the Ciguatera and PCPs and DSPs, that they could be shared within the region, and the same applies there, that the monitoring should be risk-oriented and risk-based. It requires some data, which I don't know if already exists, but at least some data is available already. But this is, of course, for discussion. We suggest that you improve the coordination of different agencies within the region, for example, regarding the collection of various types of data, and that our suggestion is that the CARIFORM states cooperate in the development of a comprehensive maybe database or some kind of an information exchange system that could be used to monitor and share information and knowledge and report on SPS practices. Then we also have a suggestion regarding the increased collaboration regarding the training programs. Since working in the primary fisheries processing, we were regarding the general SPS requirements in sectors, as well as the specific requirements that for the more stringent programs available within the region, and then improve their understanding and perception suggestion regarding the strengthening of regional SPS monitoring programs, and that is more related to expertise and research. We were informed about a couple of the stakeholder meetings that there was limited technical expertise and research currently ongoing related to fisheries and aquaculture sector, and in our point of view, this should be focused on increasing the boost the value addition within the fishery sector, and better use of the marine resources in the CARIFORM states, because there are a lot of potential there from what we saw. And that could be done by evaluating which university programs are already here in the region, are available in the region, and could be essential to boost this value addition and the better use of the marine resources, and how to address the weaknesses observed, if it is necessary to build up any new academic programs or revise the existing ones. Also, there are possibilities for building bridges between academia and private sector to increase their collaboration and define common goals regarding innovation and future developments, and that definitely needs to be also kept assessed how that could be done. And then last but not least, there needs to be an assessment and evaluation of how the funding and financing of this kind of research and development could be carried out. So this was the suggestions that were presented by us in the proposal that was uploaded. It has been uploaded up on the website, and all the documents are available at the TheCRFM website and at this link. And but just to leave and get the discussion going within the working groups, because this is of course our ideas, and we realize that you may have completely different ideas, and you don't agree at all with the proposed, have other additional ideas.